The Chicago Bears and the Arizona Cardinals both had exciting Week 8 games. One of them won in a last-second field goal, and the other lost in a last-second fashion that shall not be named. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and these two teams are playing against each other in Week 9, and we're going to break down the Bears-Cardinals matchup. Before we get into that, though, be sure to subscribe to the Tracy Take. Leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win this game and why. We have a goal of getting to 100 new subscribers for these Week 9 prediction videos we have going out, and any help is greatly appreciated. So, Ryan, obviously, if you're Bears fans, you obviously know how the game ended in Week 8 here. Shocking fashion as well. Like one of the craziest ways you had them dead to rights. Cardinals, though, fought back against Miami Dolphins for a chip shot last-second field goal to win, going to 4-4 on the season. The Bears are now 4-3. So major playoff implications for both of these teams going into this Week 9 matchup. Even though it's crazy, we're halfway through the season, but now we're already starting to talk about playoff and like tiebreakers and everything because NFC North is super tight. NFC West is super tight as well. So both these teams are going to – one, obviously, they want to win the game in general, but two, need that tiebreaker over the other teams here. But let's quickly talk about these Week 8 matchups here. The Bears were up 15-12, obviously, and really did nothing throughout the game. We're just barely hanging on, kind of dominated by the Commanders until the late third quarter, early fourth quarter. Actually, I would say the DeAndre Swift long touchdown run gave them some life. But great job, I would say, by the defense. Great job by Caleb Williams and this offense. Just keep hanging on. They found something in that fourth quarter there. Cardinals, great job just fighting, going up against a Dolphins team that got their star quarterback back. So I had a lot of excitement and momentum going into the game, but we're able to find a way to win. Halfway through the season, though, what do you think of both these Bears and these Cardinals team?
Yeah, well, first off, just to touch on the Hail Mary, there were like 2 or 3 blatant holds by the Commanders' offensive line that should have overturned the play. And I usually would be like, if it's close, let it go on a Hail Mary. They like threw 2 Bears defenders down. Like it was not even a close call. And they just totally did not call it. So Bears fans, I think, have a right to be upset about that.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I thought that too. It's like they were like manhandling them. And there was the one that could have blocked in the back. It was like it was interesting just because it's like it's a penalty, and if it's a penalty, first play should be the last play. But
the one for me that was egregious was when Jaden Daniels breaks out to the right, and then like the right tackle just like grabs the defender and like does not let him chase Jaden Daniels out to the right. And I was like, okay, like we're not calling it. All right.
Like we all know what's happening. Like, okay, I guess, but I thought that too.
And so to kind of get into this game, I think this Cardinals defense, that Commanders defense had a really good game. I think that they really slowed down that run game that the Bears have, and they really put the game more on Caleb Williams' shoulders. And I think the Cardinals, they're going to allow this team to be a little bit more balanced. I think they're about average, I think, in both passing and rushing defense. I know you have the stats, but like this is a good defense, but it's nothing spectacular for the Cardinals. And I think the Bears can definitely have a more balanced plan of attack. Defensively, I also think it's a good matchup. I think the Bears are pretty stout up front. And then you look, I think Marvin Harrison Jr., they can kind of double him or put bracket coverage on him. But then they don't have a lot of other weapons. Like Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, I think are good options. But I think I like the Bears corners in those matchups as well. So I think this is going to be a tough day offensively for the Cardinals. And I think the Bears can exploit some of the matchups on the defensive side of the ball for the Cardinals as well.
So I'll back you up. You are correct. Statistically, the Arizona Cardinals defense is balanced. They're balanced pretty horribly on both. They're 26 overall passing yards allowed, 27 overall and rushing yards allowed. So they are balanced. Correct.
Yeah.
So you are correct on that.
So I actually gave them a little too much credit in my.
So teams can both throw and run against them. Yes. So balancedly. And so, but that being said, though, I do feel like they are taking some strides compared to last year. Still taking some strides forward. But offensively, though, it's where they're definitely taking their strides. The addition of Marvin Harrison Jr., he had a big game today, 6 catches for 111 yards. Trey McBride had an even better game on National Tight End Day. A lot of good tight end performances today. And so I think it's very fitting. But he would 9 catches for 124 yards. And Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, I know like there's a lot of talk about that when we were doing an offseason recap. And it was like I think they're fitting that role perfectly. Mike Wilson had a catch today as well, but they're solid receiving options. Obviously, Marvin Harris Jr. is going to be the guy that takes off and take this team, I think, to the next level. But there's solid role position players here who Kyler Murray and company can consistently keep relying on. And what's crazy about it today is they're one of the better rushing teams in the league. They are set the 7th overall rushing offense when it comes to just yards per game. They didn't have a good performance today against a Miami team that their defense is – actually, take that back. The Miami defense, rushing-wise, is –
they're all right.
They're all right. They're average. And so, obviously, you want – if Kyler Murray can keep throwing 300 yards and then the rushing game can get back to their 120, 130-yard rushing performances, then this offense could really take off. Obviously. But that being said, though, it was good to see them throw the ball a bunch and get a lot of passing yards, because we were even talking about it during the game, as we felt like they haven't really been that team that can go and do that. They're 22nd overall in passing yards allowed. So like if Kyler Murray can go and throw the ball, like get Marvin Harrison Jr. more involved, make it more dynamic, this can be a really tough offense to go up against. And kind of segueing then into this game too, this Bears defense did a really good job containing Jaden Daniels and his Commanders defense. They got a lot of yards on them, but they were holding them to field goals. They kept this offense in the game. And so statistically right now, the Bears defense, they're above average in all categories. And so 12th in total yards allowed, 11th in passing yards allowed, 14th in rushing yards allowed, and then 12th in sacks. They got 20 sacks on the season. And so, and that to me, I think it is going to be that X factor, is because I do think the Bears offense is going to have an easier time moving the ball against this Cardinals defense. And so Bears offense is just inconsistent on the road, but I think Caleb Williams is starting to figure some stuff out. The running game is improving for the Bears significantly. His relationship with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze keep on improving as well. I think the biggest factor is going to be just the Cardinals rushing game attack versus this Bears rushing offense, this Bears rushing defense, because the Cardinals can get back their rushing ways, and then Kyler Murray can keep on developing that relationship with Marvin Harrison Jr. And Trey McBride, have similar passing performance as well, something similar to what they had today. Then I think this can be an extremely exciting game moving forward. Just because it's like their strengths versus their strengths. Bears' weakness right now is just going to be their offense and their consistency. Cardinals' defense is a huge liability as well. So I think if the Cardinals can go and have improve the rushing game a little bit off their performance today and have similar passing performance and that overall effectiveness, it's got the makings, I think, of a classic football matchup here.
Yeah, and I think both these teams too are pretty young. I know like the Bears might be a little bit older on the defensive side of the ball, but like the Cardinals themselves, I guess similar, but like two young up and coming teams. We saw the Cardinals kind of rebuild last year, and they were one of our favorite teams just because of the energy that they played with. I think the Bears are kind of the same thing, just with a little bit more oomph behind their punches. And this is going to be a really good matchup. This could determine who gets a wild card spot and who doesn't come the end of the year. So I really like this matchup. Let's go ahead and get into predictions here. I'll start it off. I think I'm going to go with the Bears. I just think they're going to be the slightly better team here. They've been a little bit more consistent, I think, in just all around defense and offense right now. So I'm going to go with them. I think they're just going to be the better team in this one and come away with it.
So I'm glad you did that, because I was honestly trying to figure out who I was going to go with here. So we need to have some disagreements for this week here as we're doing our season-long competition. I'm going to go with Arizona here. Chicago has not won on the road yet this season, actually. I guess unless if you want to count their win, I guess, in London against Jacksonville. Because technically that was a home game, but it was neutral site. But I will say this, though, to that point, that this Bears offense on the road at someone else's home site, not just neutral site like in London, it does seem to take a little bit of a backseat. We've seen that against Houston. We saw that against Indianapolis. Now that was weeks 2 and weeks 3, and then they had essentially a month without a road game outside of London. But then I do believe, though, that we saw that offense kind of revert back a little bit to what it was like in weeks 2 and week 3, because we saw the offense taking strides forward from weeks 4 through week 6. And I guess 7 too as well with the bye. I think it's going to be something similar as well. This Cardinals team, their past couple of wins have come off of last-second field goals, and they've been able to fight and find ways to win. I think it's going to be something similar as well. I think it's going to be a grinded-out type of game here. I think it's going to be lower scoring just because of the Bears' defense and also into the Bears' offense. I think is going to struggle to score a little bit as well. But I think the Bears' defense is going to make it tough for Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., and company to score. That being said, though, I think that they're on a roll and that they're just maybe it's their kind of season. The NFC West can be a division that they can go and win. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals here, 21-20, another last-second chip shot field goal.
I'm going to go 21-17 for Chicago. I think Caleb Williams gets another late fourth quarter drive after maybe a rough offensive day for both teams, but they punch it in the end zone there at the very end. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Chicago Bears? Will it be the Arizona Cardinals? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.